Hi there, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, worldwide TV network, womanontv.tv, all iHeart platforms around the world. And so today's a special guest. I was trying to get the other girls on today, but everybody was busy. It's inauguration day, so that makes it a special day for Andrew Cole. So here's the thing. Andrew, tell us who you are and where you're coming from and what you're working on, because you've been working on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for having me, first of all, on such an amazing day. Such a good day for everyone, I think. And I'm Andrew Cole. I'm a singer-songwriter, recording artist, filmmaker, home cook. I don't know. I do all sorts of I do all sorts of things. And yeah, I've just been working away, man. I'm always busy, aren't I? I'm always busy. Today I was up all night working, and then I stayed up.
You're always up all night.
I watched
I don't know when you sleep.
The amazingness. I'm like Batman. No, I'm like Dracula more so.
Hey, let's talk about this. Let's start backwards. You got a new song that's out, right? Talk about
it. Oh yeah, good point. I always forget about that part. Well, yeah, there's a new song. Well, it's just about to come out. Well, you see, I've been throwing songs out lately really fast. So the last song I just put out was called Cover Me. And I think that's probably the newest song that's out in the charts at the moment, and kind of on iTunes and all that Spotify stuff. It's called Cover Me. But there's a new song coming out in about 3 weeks, which I'm really excited for.
Is this the one that you can't tell what the title is? Is it that one?
Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
Can you say who it might be sponsored by for charity or not?
Oh, but that song, that's another one again. That's a different song. So there's 3 songs. So that one you're talking about, I can talk about. That's a very special Bruce Springsteen song that I'm doing for the NAMM show for a very special charity that helps people during the psychological times of COVID that we're dealing with this isolation, and a lot of special volunteers around America that have a helpline. So if you're feeling really isolated and just different, and kind of you can phone these amazing volunteers and they'll talk to you. It's kind of like a suicide hotline, but it's just a little bit more tailored to what we're all dealing with this isolation.
Talk about why that song is important, what you can talk about, what it's for, and then what you just talked about, anti-bullying and depression and anxiety. My God, we're not hearing enough stories, what's really happening out there, but we can only imagine what's really happening. And that's not good, is it?
No, and I mean, if you know my past, I was doing a project called #IamNoJoke, and it was centered around bullying and online abuse and whatnot, cyberbullying. But since we've all been kind of locked down for a year now, we're on our own. Some of us are alone, which is isolation and very difficult to deal with, and some of us we're not alone, and some people deal with domestic violence at home and not being able to get away or out the house. So I just think everybody's changed a lot. We're all different. We're all dealing with different dynamics, and there's people out there that are there to help you, and we all need to kind of lean on each other. So there's some amazing organizations out there like Creative Visions, and they're designed to help us when we need a little bit of a lift, because we all do. We're all, some of us that never thought we needed a lift need a lift. And
that's absolutely, and you said that just right. Some of us who never thought we needed a lift may not say it, and they do need a lift, even though they think they can get there. Like myself. Sometimes because I don't drink coffee or anything like that, I just get up. There's just some of those days where you're like, okay, I know what I got to do. I got to do what I did yesterday and the day before. Yeah. I got to make it better. That's not, you can't, that's almost impossible to do every day. It is that tough.
Yeah. It is tough. And, there's been so much going on around the world. I think people have, there's an essence that goes through the air. There's a melancholy thing, there's a fear. I mean, it's up and down like a roller coaster, isn't it? We have good days and bad days, and sometimes I think most of the advice is to phone friends and phone family, and just even strangers, talk to people as much as you can. Obviously over these you know, mediums. It's a lot different than we're human beings. We like to be around people. Most of us do. So this is very strange anyway. You know, it's not the same, is it, than giving someone a hug or just saying, "You're all right, how you doing? You know, how you feeling?" kind of thing. It sounds very, very tiny, but over this kind of a period of time, it can really build up and compact and get really heavy. So, you know, obviously the power of music. I always like to use music as a driving force for a message. A lot of people are going through big changes, breakups, just loads of changes in life, you know, losing businesses, just depression, just kids feeling weird, not knowing what's going on. So I think music's always a good way, or any form of art. So, you know, this year, the NAMM show, which is a global music convention, which has normally got thousands and thousands of people in Anaheim in the convention center, is now obviously forced to be online. So, you know, again, we're all visiting booths now online, guitar
And it's funny about that. It would
companies.
normally be going on right now. And just
Right now, this week.
yes, Consumer Electronics Show, which I did last week, it's so bizarre because those are the two biggest conventions in the world. And you know, you got the technology convention, and then you got NAMM, the music convention. And not being there, seeing friends, seeing these booths, whether it's microphones, headphones, you know, musicians come to see other people. It's bizarre, isn't it?
It's really weird. I got together with Martin Guitars this year and G7 Capos, you know, just a couple of companies that I like to work with. And we just decided through the Springsteen Foundation to do a song, a Bruce Springsteen song, one of the ones I used to love. And, you know, just make music, man. Just try and do some good and be there virtually with this equipment. It's very weird. You know, I'm used to running around like it's like what is it, like 100 IKEAs and 50 Costco's stuck together with millions and millions of people running around, you know, friends and everyone shaking hands and all that stuff. So the world's just a different place, of course. So we have to, you know, make it work.
Here's the good thing about this one. I tell people this lockdown, we have to get between now and April 2nd. After that, we're in spring, going into summer, starts to loosen up. It's not a long period.
Yeah.
It will go quickly. No. But so this is the last time that you will get a chance to write those great songs, those scripts, practice that little stuff. It's toning your harp, because after that, you're going to be able to do little things slowly but surely, and then all of a sudden it's going to take off. So you got to be prepared mentally. And a lot of people are going to be lost because they're not going to be able to go from 1 to 100 like that. And that's what it's going to be. How do you, so someone who's suffered from depression and anxiety and things like this, what do you think, how do you think that they'll be able to do that? Because that's not easy.
No, it's difficult. I think, you know, I suffer with it myself. So I can say firsthand, it's different for everyone. But I think one thing that works for me, it's the initial jump off the diving board. It's the initial throwing yourself into something, you know, even if you're not, you know, obviously you might not be a musician, so you can't go and write a song. Well, you probably could try. But it's throwing yourself into something creative or something beautiful, maybe to help others in any capacity that you find. I think, you know, when you put out light, you get light back and you feel good in any capacity. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, you know, just the other day I was in my street and I heard, help me, help me, help me. You know, it was weird. I just moved into a new place and it was the sweet lady. She'd fallen over, you know. And so I had a mask on and I picked her up and walked her home, and she happened to be my next door neighbor, my new next door neighbor.
Oh, how cool. How cool, but how strange at the same time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it made me feel good all day, and I was having a really bad day, you know, I was having a dark day, but I mean, I think it's just a case of like talking to yourself and being your own parent and just loving yourself. I think a lot of this
your parent.
Just loving yourself a lot of the time, and that's hard for some of us to do, you know, depending on your environment, especially when you're on your own. If you're completely isolated on your own, then you really are talking to yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, sometimes you can go into the mirror and then look at yourself and go, "Oi, what's wrong with you? You know, come on, man. you gotta, let's do something. What are we gonna do to, talk to your younger self as well? I like to say, what does little, Andrew think right now? Why is he upset? What's wrong? What's happening? And sometimes, we don't know why. So we have to just shake it out some way. And some people play sports or write songs or go for a run or whatever. But I think getting out the house and just seeing sunshine and nature is never a bad thing.
Well, yeah, and like I said, you're right. Because when you go and look in that mirror, whether you're a voiceover artist, whether you're actor, actresses, that's where it all starts. If you're not feeling it, you got to look in the mirror and say, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
How do I snap out of this? Because whether you're doing mouth exercises, breathing exercises, or singing, that's really where it starts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Reminded me how I started doing voiceovers, looking in the mirror, making sure I could talk properly. Because that's how I grew up. I can't talk straight because I didn't grow up that way. I couldn't pretend that I could do that because that's just not my character,
Right.
But that's where it started. That's a good scenario. You just reminded me of that. Whenever you're feeling dark like that, go into the mirror. Maybe one of the toughest things to do, and just like, okay, how do I snap out of it?
Sometimes you just, it sounds a bit weird, but sometimes if you go close to a mirror and you don't really have to say anything, you can just kind of look at yourself, like really inside your eyes, like look into your own soul kind of thing, and just tell yourself, you're okay. Like, seriously, it sounds a bit crazy, but like,
no,
if you
not
tell
at all.
yourself you're okay, as long as you know you're okay, and that, you tell yourself you're okay, like we're okay right now, you can really calm yourself down, I think.
I was so happy, we hadn't met. I was so happy that you came into the studio. You just brought like a fresh
That was amazing
energy, to do that. We're gonna do it again. I'm just looking to see which date. It's gonna be sometime near the end of next month.
Yeah.
Because I'm planning it already. But I had to strengthen up our team.
Yeah, I love it.
But it was,
I love it.
About that time that you just came in and you were talking, and I think we all just liked being there. It was different, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a sunny day, and it was a fresh thing, and I'd never met you guys before, and everyone was just sunshine, man. It was brilliant. And yeah, man, I think you're a beautiful person, so I think you light up the room any time of day, so it was a privilege, and I loved coming in. It was one of my favorite days. I love it.
Well, now you're gonna get to meet the other co-hosts. You've met two of the 13 co-hosts. Now, next Tuesday, you get to meet 3 more. And then after that, you'll meet 2 more when we go back into the studios. So you're going to be in rounds with stuff, which is good because I've been telling you about you since we met.
Yeah, I love it. I've got to bring a guitar in next time, man. There's a bunch of microphones there. Feels weird.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we can have you walk into the other room, have it already hooked up, and record.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, you have an amazing studio there. I mean, it's fantastic. That's so amazing. And I love what you do in the studio. You should tell people about that. There's the program that you guys do. I think is great.
Yeah, it's fun. Talk about this. You talked about one of the songs that you did for Bruce Springsteen. Talk about the other 2, why they're important, and then let's talk about Dr. Dre. What happened to him? Hopefully, our friend is doing okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, lots of love to Dr. Dre. I'll tell you a Dr. Dre story as well if you want after this. But yeah, the 2 songs I'm doing, I mean, Cover Me's out. Cover Me is kind of like a song about covering your friends, like being a bulletproof vest for someone, being a shield, being an umbrella. It's a pretty basic message, but wrapped in a beautiful song, and I think it's important. And then the other song, I mean, there's a song called Balloons. The tagline is "Friends are like balloons. I tie around my heart so I can fly." It's kind of like, again, another concept. I mean, I'm literally releasing a song every month now for the next 6 months. Because I've been writing a new album, and this old material, which isn't that old, but it's starting to get a bit stale for me. So and the fans, I've been a bit naughty because I haven't really been releasing much music for a long time. So people are starting to get a bit annoyed or whatever. So I'm just trying to throw it out there and go, hey, you know, we need music right now. So here's a song a month. Like, who cares? Like, we don't need to, sometimes you don't need to promote the hell out of it. You know, you just put it out there for the fans and let them enjoy the music. And then this new album that I'm creating is more of an acoustic thing. And, you know, the last body of work I was doing, I was working with DJ Ammo and the Black Eyed Peas. So it's very kind of like, it's me on my own with an acoustic guitar essentially, but it's surrounded with these amazing sonic, high fidelity sounds that I would never use in the studio, that don't come from guitars. They come from machines and weird remixy things, you know. But it's wrapped in a beautiful kind of orchestration with violins and cellos and saxophones and all sorts of things that I would never use. And then, of course, the new album that I've been creating, I've been out in the desert with the cowboys and that.
Well, boy, does that help you right there, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, just left everything at home and just took my acoustic guitar and I just sat on a stool and was like, okay, you know, there's a place where you can hear your heartbeat. It's kind of scary. You go out there and you make sound, it just doesn't go anywhere. There's no echo. There's nothing. It's just like dead. When you sit in the middle of the desert on a chair, there's no reverb or anything. It's like being in space. It's kind of weird. It's really strange, man. For someone like me, it's freaky. You know, people go out there and say, this is so serene. This is so calm. And for me, it just freaks me out because I can hear my own heartbeat and all my thoughts just
now that's bizarre, isn't that? That is bizarre.
Yeah. The opposite to me, you know. It's kind of stressful for me, but it's zeros. It's like a pinpoint, you know. It's like a laser point of thought for me. So you can't escape anything you're feeling. It's kind of like a cleanse. So I think that record is terribly painful to make. It's, you know, I hope it becomes, I always try and make pain into beauty. I always try to rap. You know, I don't really write songs about, I was trying, you know, I like to uplift myself kind of thing. So I just hope it does that for other people. I don't really write negative songs, like, or things that come out of negative situations. They never birth into something that's hateful or anything, you know.
Talk about
that's
how
important when you
talk about
music.
how your writing process goes. How do you write? Because I always wonder this as someone who doesn't write music. I always wonder what the process like when you were locked down. Was that easy for you just to really focus on writing, even though you had some stuff there, but just to kind of like tighten it up?
Yeah, it was different. I mean, at the start of this thing, I didn't do anything. I was just in shock. I was just like, I didn't know. I'm sure everyone else, nobody knew. I mean, some people, I think I hear just like the Foo Fighters just started scribbling and made one of the best albums. It's not out yet, I don't think, but one of the greatest albums ever. Like, some people have just made some of the best music ever made, like in the first 6 months of COVID, you know. But for me, the first 4 months were just like, I was kind of scratching my head going, what the hell is going on? Because normally when I write a song, most of them, my favorite songs were written in like a sound check, and I've kind of like performed them a little bit, even without words, with like mumbles, like on a big stage with a big PA, like with a lot of sound, you know.
Oh,
I'm kind of
wow.
performing something to an audience that isn't there with like a mumble track, you know. Normally I'll come up with the skeleton of the song, like the chords and the melody, and sometimes I won't know what the hell the song's about at all, and some odd words will sneak out and whatnot. I very rarely write a poem or poetry and then put music to it. It's very weird how it comes out. It's like magic, you know. I don't know. If I knew, I'd make a lot more songs, but only in the last, maybe, I don't know. I mean, you know, say I don't write poems. I was using my notes section in my iPhone quite a lot, thinking of things. I'd be in the car or on a walk, or I'd have to stop somewhere and write down a sentence or something. By no means a song, just thoughts that were, you know, inspiring or disturbing. I would write those down. And only in the last, I don't know, 3 months have I been seriously just cutting trees down with my mind, you know. At least December. I mean, Christmas, you know, I didn't have a very good Christmas, and then this month's been weird for me. So it's been a very emotional time. So you know, you want to try and, when you're having a terrible emotional time, it's kind of like, you know, when Adele made that great first record, you got to admire her for putting pen to paper while her soul was like bleeding or whatever. And for me, it's always been very difficult to write about something when it's in my head really painful. It's like, you know, Kurt Cobain said, "I'm so tired I can't sleep." And I used to say, you know, I've got so much to say, I can't think of anything to tell you.
Wow,
You know, so it's like
that's
sometimes
pretty
I need
deep.
a minute. Yeah, sometimes I need a minute to understand what I'm, you know, even sometimes you got to shoot into the sky just to see where your house is. If you're
No,
in
that
the
makes
house,
sense.
sometimes you're in the house and you don't know it. So you got to climb up a tree and go, where am I here? So for me, I kind of sometimes look back on things and then write about them. But lately I've been trying like something very difficult, which is just as I feel things, I'm writing them down, and I'm forcing them to stay as lyrics without using the eraser, you know,
That makes sense.
just to see. I don't know if it's going to be bad. I don't know if it'll be bad. It's just kind of an experiment with myself, you know, just like an honest kind of, it's like braille for your
Well,
soul.
I think what you
It's
just
weird.
said is what most people are going through, because there's two places. I knew it was coming. I just didn't know what the name of the virus was. So we were prepared, but we were also, our job was to help inspire and uplift those people, which is still what we're always about doing.
Yeah.
Now we're going to our
Yeah.
final stage of putting the last of finishing peaches on everything, or else we're in a great place. But again, our job is to save those businesses, help inspire people, give voice to the voiceless, because people need that. They need that inspiration. Let's talk about our friend Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Have you talked to him since he's been in, you know, out of the hospital and everything? Because that must have been weird for him.
No. Yeah. You know, I haven't talked to him. I talked to him quite a long time ago, actually. About a year ago. I haven't talked to him for a while. I, you know, I met Dr. Dre in a steak restaurant in in Beverly Hills, and he was such a sweetheart, and such an amazing mind, and so inspirational to me. And pretty much everything he came out of his mouth was about you know, the magnetic kind of force of love and unity and power and that kind of thing. So it's really sad, you know, what's going on, and I hope that he it's just a really sad thing, you know. I hope we don't lose him, because I think he's just such a integral part to the world, you know, in America.
Exactly.
I think
Well,
he's a lot of people don't know how great he is. I mean, they think of him for his music and his headphones or whatever, but he's just so much more than that. I mean, he just does so much for the youth in America, and, you know, the culture of he's just an amazing person. It's kind of sad. So it's a bit out the blue for me, you know. I didn't know what was going on. So I didn't reach out. I haven't done that. I didn't want to do that. I'm not like besties with him or anything, or what you would say, you know.
yeah, yeah.
We were just kind of like musical. I don't know. I always wanted to be like an Avenger, and he's like the real deal.
Yeah.
So it's like reaching out to Xavier.
Talk about
You
when you
couldn't, you
first came
wouldn't.
over from the UK. What was that like for you?
Um, I mean, it was in times, it doesn't make any sense because my mum was a nurse, my dad was a truck driver, so it was never because of work. But I mean, I went to about 16, 17 schools, and I mean, every 6 months to 8 months my mum and dad would move. So, you know, I don't really remember the first time, but I do remember the culture shock. I mean, I don't really feel like I'm from anywhere right now, to be honest. I never have. I just feel like, obviously I've got a bit of an English accent. My English friends think I've got some Americanisms in my voice, which I probably do. Reminds me of like watching the Osbournes when I was a kid and listening to Kelly have a little bit of a twang or something. But I don't feel like I'm from anywhere, which is a bit weird. It feels like you've got no base, no floor. But since I've come to America, and been in America a lot and really gotten into the culture of America and really fallen in love with it, I feel like anyone who lives on this land, that you have a kind of a duty. I mean, some people don't believe in that, or some people just live, but I've always wanted to give something back to the community and people. So I don't feel English anymore. I sound English. I've got an English bits of sense of humor and a bit dry, I've heard, and a bit rude, maybe. We're a bit rude sometimes. But I love America, and I feel like it was hurting quite severely, and I don't know. Only in the last kind of 6 months have I been feeling it's kind of weird what happened to me. Maybe it's because of that Bruce Springsteen song, or Getting All American, or the Dre stuff. I don't know, but I always felt like a foreigner, and only lately do I feel like I'm in the team a little bit. Maybe I'm just a water boy.
I know what you're talking about. I can relate to that because I never felt that I identified with being, I hate the term African American because I've got more
Right.
growing up
Right.
in Connecticut in an all white town. I have black women say, well, why do you talk so proper? I'm like, what are you talking about? This is how I talk. And then, I never dressed flashy. I don't wear jewelry. I don't have piercings. I don't have tattoos. And so I fit into that. So I know exactly what you meant. I moved 100 times in California. I think I lost count at 103.
Wow, yeah.
So I totally get what you're talking about. And I'm used to traveling around, but by myself. So now that I have my team, and this is the fun part about the Dreamweaver Artist Ranch in Northern California. I get to tell you that you're going to have a place where you can come and perform. And probably you'll end up having one of the tiny houses there, which will be fun because it'll be different for you, but it'll be like a place you could call home. And that'll be fun because there'll be a lot of people coming. We'll only have 200 people on the 36 acres at one point out of the 550 that we have.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are artists, poets, people of influence, and people who've lost their homes, people who lost their jobs, people who are coming to get an education to learn from. Wow, I can meet Andrew Cole. Well, I can listen to one of his future panels and how he writes music, what he goes through. The answer is yes. That's what that's special. And then
that's cool.
You will feel at home because there's other people that feel lost too.
Yeah, no, it's cool, man. I mean, one thing I love about this place, like not California, like America, is that, I mean, people really, it is a beautiful place. I mean, Americans are beautiful people. I mean, they all really, of course, you got to think of on a whole, like on a big sort of, you can't think about, there's idiots everywhere. I mean, there's bad people everywhere. Yeah. But on the whole, I mean, there's something about that American dream that I never used to understand. You just heard it in movies as a foreigner. You never experienced it. And lately, because of the COVID thing, and obviously today being a big day, with the old switcheroo, people are just, I mean, love is always, it sounds cheesy, but America's always been, to me, it was always Captain America. America was always the world's leading force of love and light. I mean, that's the way I thought of it as a kid, and when I got here, certain things, I don't know, they worried me a bit, but when you see change happening and people coming together and helping your neighbor and stuff, again, it's not British at all. It's not an English thing to say. If anyone from England's watching this, they're probably like, what the hell's happened to him? But it's amazing. And I think it's hard to describe as a foreigner, but it's like if you show up to a desert island or one of those islands, and like the Castaway movie, where you show up to the island and like everyone's your friends. you know, you have to make it your home. And if you don't embrace it, you don't survive. And everyone on the island is like your friend. Like, you know, you, the crabs on the beach, the monkeys in the tree, you know, everyone is like, hey, what's up? You know, let's make a tree house. Let's make a tent. Oh, it's going to storm tonight. Let me help you out. You want to drink? Let's go get some coconut water. I'm climbing up that tree. Let's get this. I know I sound like a madman, but that's what it's like in my community, you know, like helping the old lady on falling over, or, you know, that sounds crazy and I'm probably delirious, but I love the camaraderie and the friendship. And I love the fact that over here, if you're crazy enough in America and you think of something that's absolutely insane, an American will say, okay, like, if it, okay, go for it. like
Exactly.
like go, okay, okay. In England they're kind of like, no, really, you can't do that. Oh, that's weird. Oh, that's crazy. Whereas in America you can say, like, I'm gonna build a rocket ship, like, in a few years, and some guy will go, cool. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And you're like, you got your screwdriver and you're like building this rocket ship, and I mean, you know, you get to the moon and that, you know, it's amazing. I love that stuff. It's like that to me, that's the American dream, where, you know, a lot of people just don't say no. They're just like all for it. They're like, any brilliant idea is brilliant, you know, go for it. It's like, go for it, man. Like, you don't know how good you are until you believe it or see it or magnetize it or kind of manifest it. And I love that. And I was always rubbish at that when I was in England. I still am a bit bad at that. So I'm learning from that and trying to become better at, you know, I've got my own limitations in my own brain and I'm sick and tired of them. And only in the last, you know, half a year, I think, I mean, the Bully project was crazy to me, to try and get 70, you know, rock stars on a song as a nobody. It was a bit insane, but I lost hope after that a little bit. It was weird.
Yeah, but
I
talk
don't think I
about
could have
that.
done it again.
Talk about that, why that's important. How did you get all of them on? Because that's not easy, but you did it.
But I think the weirdest thing is that I've been noticing lately, and I can tell you about that in a minute, but the most interesting thing is that the year after that, like when it was finished kind of thing, and it was, you know, it was almost finished. It was 90% finished, and right now it's 95% finished. And then of course COVID hit and we kind of held off a little bit, but forget all that. The fact is that last year I couldn't have done it. Um, if I'd have done, if what am I trying to say? It, you would think that you would get more momentum and you would learn to manifest love, resonance, the laser. You turn into a single focus point. You can burn holes in a wall, right? Think of Cyclops with his helmet of this big ray of laser, and then when you hone it, it's more powerful, right? Like your thoughts or intention, self-belief. And I was kind of weird. It was kind of like I was trying to analyze how I kind of pulled that off, right? Because last year there's no way I would have been able to. I just had no confidence last year. It's weird. It's like I dropped the ball. It's like I went backwards a bit. And I've been analyzing that lately and kind of looking into that and going, why and what happened to me and where did my belief go? Where did my stride go? So I think that's more important to analyze. Obviously, that's a personal thing for me, but I don't mind putting things out in the open, because if my mistakes teach others to not trip or not, it's always been a good thing. I've never been afraid to, you know, put error out there. I think that's important. But I mean, how did I get the people on the project to begin with? I just believed they were gonna be on it. I believed that they would say yes. I believed that what I was asking of them was so important and integral to the growth of people. Sounds a bit heavy, like humanity. Like, I didn't want kids killing themselves, man. I wanted, you know, if you were Dr. Dre, for example, if he was your hero, what would he say about you being bullied? What was his advice to, you know, to put in your mind against the bully? How did you get away from the fear? How do you internalize fear? What is fear? You know, do we create it? Is it real? I'm sure if someone's running after you with a bat or a piece of wood, it's real. But, you know, if someone's calling you something, then you have to believe them for it to be real, right? I mean,
exactly.
Otherwise it's just a big pink elephant behind you. And that sounds a little bit like, I'm really bad at this, by the way. Like, so I'm not trying to be a hypocrite, but like, I have a lot of fear. I have a lot of issues. Like when I go on stage and stuff, I get like really bad stage fright. And I went through stages of my own ability. And I think it's whoever you surround yourself with as well. You know, you should always be
But the
around a
thing about
circle
that
that wants you to
though
win.
is that that is quite normal, having stage fright, which is why it's called stage fright. And people, no matter what, they never really get used to that. You know, whether it was George Burns and Burl and a lot of the legends, they would always say, you know, if you don't get that little tingling feeling that you're a little bit nervous and everything, something's wrong. You know, and it is true.
Yeah, or they'd say you don't care. It'd say you mean, like, it means you care sometimes, they say. You know?
Yeah, there's times where every show is important. It is. And there's times to say, oh, do I have to do this one? Yes, you have to, because you're there to help inspire other people. There's people that would love to be in your position that can't be. There's people that might be thinking about taking their last breath that day, and they saw the show.
Yeah.
And you inspired them, encouraged them, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like, but it's like right now, you know, normally with something like this, I would get nervous. But, you know, I know you, like, I've met you, you're such a lovely guy. I mean, you don't make me feel threatened. You make me feel warm and at ease, and like, that's a big thing, you know. So it's like, if you had an interviewer or a friend or someone who was, you know, really aggressive and just, maybe you wouldn't be able to have a normal, calm conversation. And that's the same with bullying, and that's the same with, you know, your friends around you or loved ones that don't want you to do well, or don't believe in you, or don't support you. I mean, some parents are like kind of jealous of their kids and stuff, and some parents don't support their kids' dreams, so their kids are so nervous that they don't want to, you know, maybe they don't go to ballet that week, or maybe they don't want to be a football player because they're so scared because their dad is like putting crazy amounts of pressure or whatever. I mean, it can tip us off in any way, really.
Absolutely.
It really can. So I think, you know, if you can make someone comfortable, it's a good start. And then, you know, telling yourself that you're okay again and being comfortable is a big thing. And again, you know, I have issues with it when I write a song. When I finish a song, it's really daunting. It's like, you know, what if everyone is just good enough? Like, what if everyone, I'm going to be judged right now? Like, I'm essentially signing up to be judged. And sometimes you shouldn't think of it like that. It's just like you're sharing something beautiful that you created for someone. And lately, I just thought, you know, who am I to keep all these things in the fridge? Like, just let them out, let people have it. And, you know, someone, if it helps someone, if someone enjoys it, great. And if you love what you made, then it's normally great. I think that's the key. As long as you love yourself and you can. I was really bad at that. I've been really bad at that lately, of loving myself. You know, it sounds weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's normal too. It takes a while to do that. It sounds like an easy thing to do, but it is not easy.
Yeah. I'm really bad at it. I go on, it's like a roller coaster. I'm up and down with it. But I don't think I ever really got into it. I think I just said to myself, I'm okay. And sometimes you got to go deep in and go, right. Especially for some of us who've had like trauma, you know, in our past, or even in later in life, you can have trauma in the workplace, you know, someone's.
Yeah, it can be suppressed, and then all of a sudden something triggers it and comes out. And then a lot of people may not understand, oh, what happened to that person? They don't understand. It could have been a truck. It could have sounded like fireworks, reminding you of gunshots. And then it triggers something that might have been hidden.
Totally. Totally. I mean,
give your social media
gotta
website
ask
links.
people. Oh, well, yeah. Funny enough, my Instagram got hacked, so it got deleted. But I just opened a new one. So whoever joins it, you're gonna be one of the first people. So it's at I am Andrew Cole for Instagram.
Okay.
And then Facebook is the same as it used to be, which was always at Andrew Cole Music. So it's going to be confusing. And Twitter is the same, at Andrew Cole Music. So the only one different now is the Instagram, I am Andrew Cole.
So you had to start all
So
over
go on there,
again?
send me a message. Yeah, man. It's just got pooched, got deleted. Someone went in and went, see you later.
Oh, that sucks. Wow.
Yeah. Someone being naughty.
Hey, we got a couple minutes. Talk about, we have to end with Soho Johnny. Talk about that event.
Yeah.
What was that like? How did that come about for you?
It was amazing. It was amazing. I got introduced to this guy, Soho Johnny. I didn't know who he was, and I'd heard great things. And man, from the first phone call, this guy, the biggest heart, man. He's got the biggest heart in New York. He's like this big cushion of, just, I don't know. It's like you could just float with him. He's amazing. I just, listening to him talk, and he did this crazy event with like 100 artists, over like a 6-hour period. Actually, that show was deemed as like the top 10 shows of 2020, apparently.
It was very good. I remember watching it and like thinking, oh, I'm only gonna watch like an hour or so. I watched it all except for 10 minutes, like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is pretty good. And the new artist that I saw coming out, I was like, wow, you never knew who was coming next. I'm like, well, this person is good. I never heard of this person. This person is good. Who's this person? That's what I got out of it.
Yeah. He's cool. I mean, Soho Johnny, obviously, he's got a great mind, and he just wants to help people. So he's got the Let Me Help Foundation, Let Me Help Inc. And man, he's like he's an Avenger. He's a A-team. He's like a superhero. So he's just trying to just do good by the world. And he unfortunately lost his mom and dad, last year. So, for someone who knows how to, he was obviously dealing with a lot of pain, and he just spreads light, man. He's like a big, giant light beam. It's super cool. And I love him very much. And it was nice to be involved, and it was nice to be asked. And yeah, man, he's just a great person. I can't wait to see what he does next. It's going to be exciting. Whatever he's got up his sleeve is going to be good.
What's something inspirational that you could leave the audience on this show on? What would you say to them?
Something inspirational in what realm? Give me a,
because there's so many people that aren't doing what they want to do, that have lost their homes, that they don't know what to do, and sometimes they don't know where to go. What would you say to them?
Well, you can't, if you've lost everything, or you think you have, you haven't, because you're still here. You still, like, there's a lot of people that, not to get dark, but like they didn't make it, and like we're all like kind of survivors right now. So I think you really got to look in the mirror and go, I know it sounds heavy, but it's kind of like, if you're alive right now, like that's really, really cool. And you're really lucky, to be honest, because this thing is so crazy that's going around the world. I think, in the words of, I guess it was like Denzel Washington, you can only fall forward. You can't fall backwards anymore. You're just not allowed. You just got to tell yourself, I'm going to keep falling forward. That's it.
And that makes sense. Social media links one last time again.
Okay, Instagram. I need followers on there. I'm dying on there. So at I am Andrew Cole. It's a new account. At I am Andrew Cole. And then all the rest is at Andrew Cole Music. COLE, Andrew Cole Music. But go on Instagram because it's way cooler, apparently. I'm on that more. So
Andrew, it's good seeing you. You're going to be on our next week iHeart show with all the platforms, and you're gonna
Love
meet
it.
4 of the girls, which will be fun. They look forward to seeing you because they know about you, and they couldn't be here today because everybody was with stuff that was going on.
Yeah, I miss those girls.
And what I say with everybody, I always have to say this: if
they're nice.
without a smile, please give them one of yours because the world needs it. I'm Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More. Gotta thank my friend Andrew for coming on, Andrew Cole. And yes, go to his Instagram because we all need followers, no matter who we are. So with that, we will see you next week and have a good day.